You're listening to the Slaying Self-Doubt podcast with Coach Felicia, where we empower Black women to overcome their doubts, fears, and insecurities in order to give birth to their God-given purpose. Join me and sometimes some of my friends on our journey as we remind you that you are not alone. I'm Felicia Wallace, and together we will find our fears and slay them. Welcome back to another episode of the Slaying Self-Doubt podcast. I am here with Candi Waller from CWall Sports and Entertainment. Y'all, I told her I was going to do it because every time I see her name, want to say it, it has to be like Candi. Hey, Candi. How are you?
I am doing so well. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you are so welcome. I'm excited about this conversation because you are literally doing something that most women do not do, right? It's getting there. You're seeing more of our faces, right? But it's still a very male dominated industry, and we will get to that, and I'm quite sure all these things, but y'all know I try to tell y'all how I know people before we get started. And so Candi and I, we have homes by the sea. Okay, we are Hampton buddies. Okay, we went. So I was there from 98 to about 99 till my mama was like, come on up out of there because you playing around with my money. But we have stayed in touch. We usually see each other in the area because she is still an area PG County gal, so that is how we know each other. And when it all came together, I asked somebody, I think I put a post on Facebook, like, who y'all think I should interview in 2020? She was like, me, girl. I was like, yes, come on, let's go. I am so excited, Candi.
Yes, no, this is awesome. And it's like, I know before we started recording, we were reminiscing a bit, right, about our freshman year at Hampton University. And it's like, who would have thought, we both out here doing our thing, we were, everything was we thought things that were small, we thought they were so big when we were, I want to say when we were little. No, we weren't little. We weren't little. But now, let me also take this opportunity to share with you that I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
Everything that you are doing in this Slaying Self-Doubt podcast is truly a game changer. And, it's just awesome that you've provided a platform for entrepreneurs and others to come and talk about the Slaying Self-Doubt journey. It's an amazing thing. So
thank you so much. I appreciate that. I receive it. Okay. I told myself that's what I'm doing this year. I'm just going to receive it all. So before we get started talking about all things CWall Sports and Entertainment, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you even got started doing this?
Yes. So, hey everybody, my name is Candi Waller. As Felicia's already said, I am a native of Prince George's County, Maryland, born and raised right down the street in Mitchellville. I tell everybody. So I grew up first, I was in Landover Hills, and my parents moved to Mitchellville, and that's where I was. So I am a product of Ascension Lutheran School, just to give y'all a lay of the land.
Oh, wow.
Lutheran School, what's that? In Hyattsville, and then Benjamin Tasker in Bowie. I went to Bowie High School.
Oh, yeah, you was all through PG County.
I'm PG County. Ain't no doubt about that. Like, that is. And then Hampton University, as we've already shared, and I got a master's from GW when I came back home after Hampton. And I got started in the sports industry. I've always been a huge sports fan. And hopefully this resonates with some of your listeners. While I did watch cartoons and everything as a child, I definitely did. One of my favorite shows growing up, and Felicia, I already know you know this too, was the George Michael Sports Machine.
Oh, yeah.
I used to love the Sports Machine. I used to be like, oh my gosh. My parents used to let me stay up late on a Sunday night.
Yes, that came. Oh, yes. It was like once a week. Yes. Yeah. After the news was off.
After the news went off, it was time for the Sports Machine. And I just got a kick out of how he would go through the whole rundown of sports in 30 minutes. Yes. It was like you knew everything. Like,
and he was hype.
He was hyped from
the whole
football
time
to golf to wrestling to NASCAR, everything. He was covering horse racing,
right.
everything on there. And so I just loved it. And even as a child, that was like one of my kind of secret loves, so to speak. It was just something that I was drawn to. And my father said he noticed it early on. Like, this girl will sit and she'll just watch the whole game. You know how after a while, when you're a kid, you might start playing with toys, you might start doing something else, your attention span is real short. He was like, he started noticing, like, she will sit and watch this whole entire game with me and not move. Like, she's understanding, she's watching it. This is something else. And he said he pay attention over the years. And so it was always like a secret love. But as I got older, I would drift away from it. It was more so about being cool and not, go along
speaking a word,
and being cool. And, who wants to sit around a girl who wants to talk about football all day, or who wants to talk about basketball all day? I didn't think it was cool. So I didn't do it a whole lot. I kept it to myself. But it was still something I always talk with my dad about, and with my brother. Even my male friends, they knew I liked sports, but they didn't know to the extent that I really knew sports.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Right, exactly. You can like it all day long, but do you know what you're watching? That's a whole different ball game.
I don't know what I'm watching.
All right, touchdown. Yeah. Right. So, it was, but like, so what happened, honestly, I had and still had a very successful career in consulting, and have enjoyed that and loved that. And what happened was, gosh, I'm getting my years mixed up. So in 2017, the Super Bowl 51 was in Houston, and my brother lives in Houston. And I told myself, I said, I don't care who's able to go, but I'm going to Super Bowl 51. I'm going to go. I don't care who's playing. I'm going to do the whole entire NFL experience. And that is exactly what I did. I did it like a real, true, live football fan, all by myself. That was the year. And if there's any Atlanta Falcons fans listening, I'm sorry, because that was the year that the Patriots came back in the second half and beat the Atlanta Falcons. It was absolutely crazy. But that whole entire week, what I did was I went to live sports talk shows. So I did sports talk shows like First Take. I did Undisputed. I did Good Morning Football, like in the live studio audience. So I had the whole experience from like getting up early in the morning, standing in line, and having to, sit out in the audience and seeing all the stuff they were doing on the set to prepare. And
I didn't even know they did that. See, that's how you know when that is not your ministry, right? Like, I didn't even know they let people in. Like,
well, during Super Bowl week, they do. They have live studio audiences all throughout the week during like special event weeks and everything.
Oh, okay.
And so
educate me, Candi. Educate me. I don't know.
So that's a tip. You do that. And I remember sitting on the set of Good Morning Football that Friday morning, and it was just literally poured into my spirit, like, this is what I want to do. This is my happy place. I still, when I tell this story, it's like I still can't put into words how happy I was.
That's that
all week long.
That's joy. That's joy. Yeah. Like, can't nobody touch that.
Nobody can touch it. Like, you walking around, you see your favorite football players, current and retared, and just other celebrities. And it was just like, it was cool. I was at home. I was safe. And I was by myself. Yeah. Because my brother couldn't go to all the events. So I'm literally running around Houston, going to all these events, and people are looking at me like, oh, you're here. Oh, are you by yourself? Yes, I am.
Just me, one, please.
Just me. and that was very interesting. And I feel like this is always an important point to share, is that was probably one of the first trips I had ever taken that wasn't work related per se. I didn't know it was going to be work related later on, but it wasn't work related, that I had taken by myself. So you talk about your show, Slaying Self-Doubt.
Yes.
I had never traveled anywhere by myself.
Wow.
and to go on this trip, on this journey, having no idea that I was going to get this dream, that it was going to plop right into my spirit. Like, this is where you need to be.
Yes.
It was truly a blessing. I had no idea what I was in for.
Wow. But I think it's a couple of things that you said, right? So the fact that you were doing, one of the things that I always try to remind people or even just share is that your purpose is already in you, right? Because it's whatever you're supposed to be doing. You've been doing it. You may not realize that that's what it is. You may not know, but just watching, the sports machine, that's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Just watching that, and I'm like, I remember that. Like, I remember my dad watching it. Like this. When I have memories of sports, right? I remember my dad screaming at the TV, rearranging the kitchen, like stuff like that. You just get so stressed out. And for me, it was like, it's a game, right? It just never, nothing ever clicked. But for you to say that you've been able to do, and that it's been in you, right?
Yeah.
But then it comes a point where you was like, oh, this not cool, right? We may not say cool. We may use a different word for it. We may say like, nobody cares about it. That's that self-doubt, or that, the insecurities that come up, that I don't want to be different. I want to be just like everybody else. I don't want nobody to look at me differently. So we wear this mask, but you put it to the side. I mean, it didn't go nowhere. You just weren't pouring into it until you literally did something intentionally for yourself. To be able to see that this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. And it was intentional, because you would not have received that same download had you been with a group of friends, right? Because you would have been pulled in many direct. Well, we don't have to go there, right? Let's just go over here and do this. And you would be like, oh, I really want to do this, but you set out, you didn't know that you were going to come out on the other side and be like, oh, I got a whole job that left out of here, right? Like a whole purpose that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So those things was like that came up for me. Like we have to be mindful of those. As somebody else I heard on a different podcast said, you have to be able to look at your history, because it connects the dots to where you are right now. If you pay attention to certain things, it all makes sense. It literally will all make sense. If you just take the time to like really do the inner work in yourself, to be like, oh, okay, well that happened because, and then that, and you're able to actually see it. So while you were there and even going on to this journey, so we gonna go ahead and go all there, right? How has self-doubt showed up in your journey? When I first started posting on social media for the podcast, oh my goodness, it was a disaster. I did not know what I was doing. I was guessing at everything. Then things shifted for me when I got introduced to 3 platforms that changed the game for me. I started using Canva for my graphics, Caption Writer for my captions, and Wave for the audiograms. Seriously, if you go back to the beginning of the Slaying Self-Doubt Instagram page, you will see the transformation. If you are in the process of branding or rebranding yourself, I recommend you try out these platforms. Canva has hundreds of templates that you can choose from to design any type of post you desire. Caption Writer allows you to create and save your captions with the perfect line breaks, and even let you add different fonts. Wave helps you create snippets of your content to share with your followers. They have closed captions and those cool little wavy lines. If you're interested in trying them out, click the links in the show notes to start using them today. Now, back to the show.
Oh, I mean, it's exactly what you were just mentioning and what I was sharing a moment ago. Even from what I decided to major in at Hampton. I remember my dad being shocked when I told him I was going to be a psychology major. He was like, "You don't want to do anything in sports?"
Because he knew. Because your father knew.
Yeah, because my dad knew. And he was, I was like, no, just no. And it was just a no. It wasn't like anything. It was just no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And even though he's like, but you've been doing it. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So that was the first kind of area of self-doubt, because even at Hampton, I loved going to the games. But if my girls didn't want to go, I didn't go.
Wow.
Because I didn't have the confidence then to be like, well, if y'all ain't going, I'm going later, going by myself.
Yeah.
Now, if everybody was going, we can go and fun it up, especially at football games.
Right.
Football games.
Yeah, that's where the fun is.
But so, basketball was too.
Yeah,
so, you know what I mean? But it was still like I wanted to be around that. But if I didn't have a crowd with me to go, it was like, okay, I don't want to go by myself.
Yeah.
I don't know what people gonna think, and I just don't want to be alone.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was a whole nother thing. I didn't want to be alone.
Right.
That's what I kept thinking about. Like, I just don't want to go by myself. I don't want to sit there alone. Who am I talk to? Who am I this? Who am I that? You know? So that's where I will attribute all the way back then to where self-doubt entered into my journey and potentially even prolonged, the start of it.
Yeah.
Say is through is acknowledging that, though I was able to learn other skills and attributes that I needed to do my business. I didn't realize that at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it was like some of the overall project management, business acumen, networking, relationship building skills that's needed
to
thrive in a completely new, different industry, in a completely new room. I was able to build that over the years, not understanding at the time that's what I was doing.
Right. Yeah.
But actually, I would go all the way back to my college years. Like, I don't want to be by myself. I don't know people, and it truly determined what I majored in college.
Wow.
You got a whole degree in.
Right.
Like,
and the thing about it is that when you're, regardless of, so you're, it being, again, when we talk about doing the work, right, to be able to see how it all, sometimes it happens all the way, and it's okay, right? Like when we're at that age, we're still developing. You talking about what, 18, 19, 20, 20, like we don't know nothing, you know what I mean? You like, so yes, so being a part of the in crowd, or being, it's a tough thing to be able to say, no, I'm going to separate myself from everybody else to do. And there's some people who do it, right, with no qualms about it. They just like, nah, I'm good, I'm gonna just do what I want to do. But being able to recognize that, like you said, like you're able to now know that, like, no, I can do this, right? Like it took you some years to be able to do it, but once you did it, like you said, it prolonged you being able to really find out what your purpose was, because you were operating on the, like, what's everybody else doing? Which we all do. We all do that, even as adults. We like, well, what they doing? Let me see, minding other people's business, right? Like, let me see how they doing that and see how I can incorporate that in, and if it makes sense with what, as opposed to staying in your lane and doing what's meant specifically for you.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. And I mean, you talk about, where self-doubt has entered into the journey, even in being a small, minority woman-owned business, right? I mean, when we're talking about sports media and sharing sports news, we're talking about being alongside ESPN, Bleacher Report, NBC Sports Washington, Yahoo Sports, CBS Sports. I mean, these are huge conglomerates of sports news.
Yeah.
And then there's CWall Sports, PG County native, Black woman starting her own.
Yeah.
Like, can I be in the room with these people? Am I supposed to be in the room with these people? I would count myself out of opportunities just because I was thinking, because I just couldn't be in the room. Like, there's just no way they would let me in their room. And you got to get past all of that.
That just gave me goosebumps.
I mean,
because
it's real.
How many opportunities have we passed up? How many opportunities have we not even attempted to try because we already counted us? Let them tell you no. Let them tell you no. Let them tell you you're not qualified. Because in some instances, depending on what's happening, you may get some feedback. They may say, hey, we would have loved to be able to have you be a part of this. However, you don't have, I don't know, like something, right? But guess what? Then you need to attain that something to be able to. But if you don't even try, you don't even put your foot in the game,
right?
And step out there. And even when I think of, when you said that, right, the first thing I thought about was my husband listens to them every single day. But the junkies, right, who are just friends, who are from the same area, who are from PG County, who all they do is talk about sports all day long. right? They went from radio to syndication. They on TV now. They do sponsored. When you see that, so even when you said it, I'm thinking to myself, I immediately thought to myself like, well, I've seen you see what could happen once you get started and when you blow up. But you just got to start.
Yeah, you got to start. You got to start. And one of my mentors told me one time, because I'm gonna tell you something. And this is something that I've had to work on, and I think, with God first. Let me just already throw that out there.
Yeah,
I'm not doing none of this without God first. Okay,
absolutely.
So with God first, she told me, you're gonna have to get comfortable with rejection.
Ooh.
Who likes being told no?
More than once at that.
And who likes to be rejected? Like, who wants? To your point, how many times have you just not asked or just not done something because you didn't want to be turned down? You didn't want to deal with the no. You didn't want to. Girl, please. Now I meant that same mentor was like, no means next opportunity.
And
I'm like, listen, your girl will be sitting out here and will still ask, because even if you tell me no, I'm gonna say, okay, well, what do I need to do to get a yes? You give me the criteria. Give me the guidelines, give me the rules, and I got you. Because a lot of the rooms that I am in now, I was told no.
Let that be a word, okay?
I was told no.
And
I'm like, okay, well then, how do you get a yes? What do I need to do? I stayed persistent to get that yes.
Man, that is
and
so
I still
good.
have to continue to stay persistent to keep that yes. Because it's one thing to get in the room, but you got to stay in the room, and then you got to continue to advance and go higher and get into other rooms. So it's a constant battle, and a lot of times, and what we do in sports media, and what they're looking at is how many followers you have, how many views you're getting, how many followers, how many downloads. So then you can easily, that's another area of self-doubt, right?
Yes.
Ain't nobody listening, ain't nobody watching my show, ain't nobody following my page. They'll come. And being a follower of Christ, one thing I've learned, I'm gonna just keep doing my part, and God gonna always do his. So I always say that. So it's like, that means I'm gonna keep showing up. And the followers will come. The downloads gonna come, the views gonna come. I can't worry about something I can't control.
Come on.
I'm gonna just keep showing up.
And I actually saw something the other day, or somebody must have told me, that said, if God gave you the purpose, he gave you the assignment, he will send the clients, he will send the downloads, he will send the followers, he will send the people. And sometimes I think that for us, we have a tendency to want to outrun God, right? We want to hurry up and get to it. And the thing about it is that I'm learning, right? Like, but can you handle, if God gave you every single thing that you asked for right now? Do you have the character? Do you have the capacity? Do you have the strength? Do you have the willpower? Like, there's so many things. A lot of people want to be successful, but can you handle truly being successful in your purpose? And some people, for me, I've had to really say to myself, no, that's a fear of mine, of really receiving all that God has for me, because I still don't even feel worthy enough to be able to receive that, right? But that doesn't mean that you play small. Just because you don't, he will teach you how to handle all the blessings that he's going to have for you, right? But you can't outrun him. You can't try to hurry up and get to it, and then you're just going to be out of order. And look, my audience knows I've been out of order enough times that I'm just not fooling with him at all. I don't want no problems. But yes, you like being able to handle all of those things. If God said it, you good.
Yes, it's all rooted in purpose.
Yes.
If you're exactly right, if you are knowing, you are sure. And here's the thing, I have played little silly games with God. Like, if you do this and don't nothing bad happen, I trust you. Oh, okay. If you do it again with no issues, I trust you, you know, and I'm like,
oh, I know.
Stop playing. You already know what this is.
Yeah,
And I've
yeah.
even told people, and I will say this right here on your show, on your pod, for your listeners to hear. Hey, listen, if I had told myself to do this, I'd have quit 3 years ago. Because it's hard.
Yeah, yeah. That is real. That is real.
It's hard. Like, it's hard.
This ain't no light work. It ain't.
This
It
ain't
is.
light work.
It is. And when I tell people, like, we're not saying that it's difficult, like, oh, it's not doable, not difficult as an impossible, but it's difficult because you're not doing it in your own strength. That's where it starts that's where the tug of war happens, right? Because you're trying to execute something that ain't even yours to begin with. He's purposed you to do something, so you need him to be able to do it. It gets harder when we be like, oh, I got this guy, you go ahead and work with them down there, you know, and it's like, oh, why do I keep hitting this wall? Why is nothing happening? But when you, and we've talked about this before, when you surrender to your purpose and you surrender to your gifts, the Lord will take care of the rest. Like he will make sure that like that you're good. He will literally make sure that you're good.
Yep. And I mean, you know, I've definitely had friends from over the years, you know, reach out to me and be like, wow, you know, I knew you liked sports, but I didn't know you were into sports like this, or I didn't know you do it like that. And, you know, and I've had to reconcile the difference in how people view me, because it's almost like a reinvention of yourself. People don't know this person, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, she was always there, but I had to come to a place of submission and surrendering to what God wanted me to hear. You made a point earlier that I want to bring back up about the trip to the Super Bowl in Houston, and you're absolutely correct. If I had been with and I love my girls, all of them, I love all my homies, all my friends, love all of them. But the reality is this: if they had been there with me, they would have been a distraction. I would not have heard what God needed me to hear.
Yes.
I know I wouldn't have, because I'm too much of a people person. I like to talk. I like to be in the mix. You know this, Felicia.
Yes.
You know this. I like to be in the mix. So I wouldn't have heard it. I wouldn't have even received it. I wouldn't have even been at the place where I needed to be for him to tell me, because I'd have been asleep.
Right.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't have been up at 4:00 in the morning to try to be on set by 5.
Yeah.
For something that don't even start till like 8. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done all that.
No, and the thing about it, the thing that came up for me was like intentional, right? Like you went down there with a purpose. You don't know what the purpose was, right? Like you were like, you know, I love this so much. I just want to experience it. Like, why not? Right. Sometimes that's what you're just like, let's just see what happens, right? But you, even in the midst of that, right? You could have been like, I ain't getting up at 4:00 in the morning. I'm not doing that. Even if you was by yourself, you still could have said, because here's the thing, y'all. I've said this multiple times. Even if God still gives you choice. You can choose one way or the other. Like he not forcing nothing on you. You still have free will. You still have a choice and a decision to make. But once you start walking down that path, right? You either going, what they say, piss or get off the pot, right? One or the other. So you either need to go full-fledged down there. When you start to see the things like, oh, this is actually coming with ease. This is actually, like you said, bringing me joy. They can't nobody, like I saw your face. They can't see your face, but I saw your face as you were reliving that story and the smile that came up, because when you experience those moments, like, nobody can take that from you. Like you can see it. It's like you right there all over again. And what he wanted was for you to create a space where you always felt like that. You always felt that joy. And when you do your work, it takes you right back to that same feeling.
You're exactly right. And what you are sharing is, I know it's right, because everybody tells me that. They're like, you have no idea the energy you put off when you talk about the moment you knew this is what it's this. It's this. This right here. This feels like euphoria. This feels like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, and it's just, you know, some people can say, well, you know, maybe it's because of the athletes or the celebrities. Listen, they're people just like us. And at this point, it's like they're your coworkers.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, and then you just keep on going, you know what I mean? But it's just one of those things where you said it a while ago, where it's like, okay, it was already, the purpose had already been shown back when I was a child watching George Michael Sports Machine.
Right.
Back when my dad used to call me when he used to work and be like, what happened on the game? And I got notes. I didn't tell that story. I used to have notes and be like, okay, so this is what happened. And would tell him the rundown of everything that happened in the game. I knew.
Wow.
And it was like, it was already there. That childlike faith, that childlike joy, that childlike, I'ma just sit here and watch the game. You know, when you would go to, out in Ashburn or watching the football team, or when we do, training camp, sitting out there in that heat and just sitting there and asking myself, if you could be anywhere else in the world right now, where would you be? And me literally telling myself, I'm exactly where I want to be.
Wow. That's a word right there, though. Like, to really to just in that moment, like, I want y'all to ask yourself that question. If you could be anywhere in the world doing anything, and when people talk about their purpose, and I've actually heard my pastor say something about this, he'll say, like, your purpose is a burden. It's something that you cannot not do. And if you do it, you can do it. You would do it for free forever. So what is the thing you would do? Like you said, where could you be forever? Where could you, what could you do? It's like, ask yourself that. Where would you? And I understand that, because when I'm in this element of, like, just talking to other women about their self-doubt journey, or coaching other women, like, I get such a high off of doing it, that when I'm done, I got like energy for like the rest of the day. Like, I just be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just talked to this person. And, and again, it's not like fangirling or anything like that, but it's like, they just empowered me and like lifted, like, it's like your love tank is filled,
Yes. It's great energy. You're right. And that's awesome. Your pastor is exactly right. You can't not do it.
Yes. You can't not do it.
You cannot do it. This is when I do my show. I'm sure it's like when you do your show, when you do your pod, you can't not do it. You can't wait to get on there and talk.
Yeah.
Say something and share.
Yeah.
And all of that. And it's a beautiful feeling. It's enriching. It's purpose driven. And yeah, it comes a lot of self-doubt. I mean, that's every day, right? And then we can talk about other things. We talk about having this business, you got to have your makeup, makeup. And then, of course, we always know physical attributes. Everybody's looking at what you look like, what you this, that, and third. I had enough on that. Listen, I just want to talk sports. I don't care about all of that. But, hey, but it is a part of just everything we do, right?
Yeah.
Everybody deal with it.
Yeah. And I think that what that has to do with, when you think about that, is like, you don't, as you go through these journeys, because no matter, whenever you are your brand, right, and you are the face of your business, or you have to do anything where you have to physically show up, right? There's some businesses that they can be behind the scenes all the time, right? You're always going to have some self-doubt or something that's going, but ultimately your purpose should override that, to the point that you be like, okay, yeah, all right, maybe my eyebrows ain't done today. Maybe I should have, not eaten that cookie yesterday, or whatever the case, or worked out an extra little more, and whatever. Right. It don't matter. But when you're operating in purpose, you be like, but the people are more important. You know what I'm saying? The assignment is more important than what I look like. Is more important for me to show up with all of my vulnerability, my transparency-ness, like authentic. Like, let me just be me. Because when you're trying to pretend to do other stuff, like, people feel that, right? They definitely, they be knowing, right? They be like, she not, this don't seem right. So what have you learned about yourself during this journey that you didn't know before? Y'all know the story. This podcast was an assignment from God that had my self-doubt and limiting beliefs telling me that nobody would listen. But you, yes, you, kept showing up every week to listen to this podcast. And because you keep showing up, so do I. If you enjoy this podcast and would love to support me and future episodes, please consider making a donation by simply purchasing me a coffee. If you would like to donate, click the Buy Me a Coffee link. Now, back to the show.
Let me tell you something. I think what I have learned about myself that I didn't know before, um, I'm definitely stronger than I thought I was.
Mm.
That's for certain. Um, this is an industry where when I first arrived, I didn't know anybody, and
Mm.
that's not what I'm used to. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. In elementary school, I mean, you start out in elementary school, right? But when I went to middle school, I had friends from my elementary school and from the neighborhood. I knew people
Right.
there. From middle school to high school, you know people at the new high school. From high school to college, I knew people at the college. From college to grad school, I knew people at grad school. When I started in my first um, when I first started out my career, I knew people at that place of employment. I've known somebody
Mm.
every room and every place that I've walked into, and this was the first time that I walked into something and I didn't know anybody.
Wow.
I knew nothing. I was starting. Everything was starting from scratch.
Yeah.
I didn't know how the business operated. I didn't have any relationships.
Mm.
I had to build everything, through the grace of God and just being, trying to be a student,
Yeah.
right? So I'd even gone back to school, girl. Let me go ahead and tell that I had gone back to school. I got a certificate from Columbia University in sports management
Come on.
and did that. And then I just started to learn, use all the tools about business acumen and relationship building,
Yeah.
and getting mentors to help me navigate
Mm.
as a business owner, but a business owner in a male dominated industry.
Hmm.
Like, it is not every day. Let's just be honest. It is not every day a Black woman with her own sports media outlet walks into a press room and sits down.
Right. Yeah.
This doesn't happen. It doesn't happen often. It doesn't happen often in this area. So I had to learn that I could do it. I
Mm.
didn't need a crowd with me to get it done.
Wow.
I could go out here and I could use what I've learned, and I could take the confidence and the skills and be like, Lord, okay, you I'm doing my part. I'm
Yeah.
trusting you to do yours. And we go in here together. Because I've never walked in so many rooms alone than I have in this industry. Normally
Yeah.
I've always got somebody with me.
Yeah.
And here I didn't at first. Now I do because I've built relationships and I have a
Right.
team. And my teammates may come with me to certain events and certain gatherings, but um just that fearlessness.
Yeah.
I used to talk myself out of everything.
Child. Child.
Talk myself out of it. Like, you know what? I ain't even gonna go because anything. It's raining,
Yeah.
it's cold,
Ain't nobody
I
no
ain't gonna
probably not
find no
gonna be there.
parking,
Right.
ain't nobody to be there. I would talk myself out of anything. Now just go forward.
Yeah. I think one of the things that resonated with me about what was that this was the first time that you had to do it by yourself. And when, at first I wanted to interject and be like, that Jesus was there.
Yeah,
But, when I was thinking, I'm
yeah.
like, but a lot of times we like having people around us, right? For
Mhm.
support, for, to hype you up, like you or what, whatever it is, like your friend, somebody that you're comfortable with.
Right.
The crazy part about that is that when you're in your purpose, right, and your what, it is by yourself. Because I've learned that having to go the same thing, like transitioning to doing this, I'm like, I don't know nothing about. I didn't even have no entrepreneurship friends. No, I take that back. Maybe like two or three, right? But
Mhm.
even walking into this, I don't know what I'm doing, and then I was like, then you have to have different conversations, right? I had to
Right.
reach out to different friends and be like, so you do this, and but one of the things that I started to recognize as I was going through this journey and figuring out, like, for myself, like, all right, it always came back in your story. It was reminding me of the story of Moses when God tells him to go, right? And he's
Mhm.
like, what do you have in your hand? And you, like, what you said is like, I used the tools I already had, like,
Mhm.
yeah, okay, I went back to get this so you could be certified in the industry that you're now in, but you use all the tools that you already had to build. So we got people that's out here, right? That's like, oh, I need to do one more thing. Oh, I need to do one more
Yeah.
thing. I need to do one more. Let me go do this real quick and then I'll be ready. And the reality is that you already have it. You had what was already in you, that your love for it. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you did. You had some skills that you used from your previous job, but when you were ready, you probably didn't even need the certificate for sports. No, you didn't need that.
Let's just go ahead and say it. Go ahead and be honest. I didn't need it, but hey, listen, I got it. It's on my wall.
Right. Well, listen, yes. But that's what we do, right? We like
exactly right. I got so nervous, like, oh, I gotta go do this. I gotta go, you know.
Child, listen.
Exactly.
We both did the same thing, y'all. It was just like, nah. But the thing about it is that recognizing that you already have what you need, recognizing that God's already equipped you for whatever this next step is, will, you know, it's already, you just have to find it, right? Like, and it isn't until you start actually walking in it, then you be like, oh, I actually do already know how to do this, right? Like, then it starts to click and all the things come in and it's like, oh, I can actually take this same thing that I did here and use it here. Oh, this is, because it's literally, we're all doing the same thing, just in different industries, right? In different areas. And so one of the things I did want to ask you about within this journey of being in the male dominated industry, like, I'm sure there's lots of women who, you know, overall, there's probably lots of male dominated industries, right? But sports is the heaviest. But like, what kind of things did you do on a regular basis to try to make sure that Candi showed up? Like, when you was like, no, this is what we doing. What did you do to be like, all right, Candi, let's go. We going today. We going right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'll use like training camp, for example, with the Washington football team. And that was when I would be out there at the time, a team of one, right? It's me covering information or covering the practice and doing interviews with the players. I was showing up early. I was one of the first media folks in the room. One of the last to leave. I would be capturing, and not no fancy camera, straight from my phone. I would be capturing almost every position group practice. Like, there's a time period where media can cover the practice.
Okay.
And I would literally be daggone there running around the field, recording the running backs, recording the linebackers, recording the quarterbacks, you know, recording, you know, the wide receivers, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody. I'm just, you know, the offensive line. I'm going to capture everybody and I'm just shooting it out. Shooting it out, posting it all over social media. Go. Just, you know, learning the hashtags, learning the lingo to get the stuff out there, to get the information out there, and then effectively preparing for interviews. I never missed a day of interviews. I would give, you know, the PR team, here's my list of interviews, here's who I want to interview, and I never missed the opportunity to interview anybody.
Wow.
You know, and that was one of the ways that I felt like I had to show up. Because you were going to see CWall Sports and Entertainment in these news feeds.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I had to do. It was action oriented. You know, sure, I could go and just watch and then wait until my show on Thursdays and tell you what I saw. But no, I need to be on point in sharing this information because some of these other outlets, they might have a team of at least 5. And they can assign a person per position group. I can't do that. It's just me out here. So let me go run around here and get it going. I lost a lot of weight doing that too. Because I was getting all kinds of steps in. For real. But I mean, you know, that was one of the, you have to work harder than everybody else.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that it also made me think about was like, you again, we talk about choice, right? You, like you said, you could have just waited till Thursday. You could have just did the interviews. You could have just did the quarterbacks. You could have just did, the running backs, right? But it was a choice to say no. In order for me to get out here, I need y'all to see how hard I'm working, right? So when they see this little black girl running around, like, who is that lady? Just
right. And I even had some of my colleagues be like, how the hell you get all that footage? And it was crazy because even then what would happen is, say like NBC Sports Washington, they're on all day long.
Yeah.
And they're recording, they're live. People that watch NBC Sports Washington, other Washington football team fans, girl, they would see me in the background. They'd be like, Candi, they would like take a picture and send it to me. They'd be like, is this you? Or they would like inbox me and be like, hey, this you? Because I would have a CWall shirt or whatever. I'd be like, yeah, that's me. I'm out here.
Yeah.
But,
listen.
But you got to work. It is what it is. And you're exactly right. I could have made a decision to stay in my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Right? To say, I don't want nobody's camera to catch me. Because that's another thing. When we talk about slaying self-doubt, part of your self-image is, oh my gosh, I don't want nobody just taking no picture of me, or I don't want to pop up on no video. When you are out there, you slaying self-doubt. Because anybody's camera can catch you. And that's real. Anybody's camera can catch you. Anybody's video footage can catch you. You out there, and it's you gotta say, hey, and you're right. I could have said, I don't want to do no interviews.
Yeah.
Or I'm only going to do the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Or knowing that there's cameras everywhere, I'm only going to stay on this side of the field.
Yeah.
Because ain't no cameras going to catch me.
Yeah.
Because I used to be like that at first. Let me be clear. I used to be like that at first. Like, I used to say that, which is funny enough that I'm talking about this out loud. Let me find out where the cameras are. I would always be able to find out where the cameras are.
So you could hide, y'all. That's what she was doing. She was hiding, right? Ooh.
And then I realized, this ain't what I'm here for.
Come on, I'm gonna throw my shoe at you, Candi.
You're not gonna put me out. You're not gonna put me out here to hide.
Come on. That is not what I'm here for. That's no. You got to show up, and you show up every single day, and you do all the work. Not part of it. You do all the work.
All the work.
All of it.
And I would be walking around, and fans can see. People can see you.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, I'm out there. I'm wearing my brand, so people would then stop. Hey, are you CWall? Are you Candi from CWall Sports Entertainment? Or they'll say, are you CWall? I have to say yes, have a conversation with them, or people be like, who are you? Or just anything like that. You know how all that goes.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh man, that is, I'm like, I have like a whole visual of you running around the field.
That thing was serious. At one point, it'd be so hot out there. I was out there moving. That was how I was getting my steps in. I was winning a lot of steps.
The summers here sometimes be like, are we in the DMV? Like, what is going on right now? It be dumb hot. So let us talk about all things CWall Sports and Entertainment. So as you were on this journey, I have one very important question after you talk about this. I really want to know who's the first person that you like fangirled, like throughout your experience. But before that, before we talk about that, before we talk about that, let's talk about like what it is that you do. How do you bring, or do you only do DMV sports? Like, how do you bring sports to people's airways, YouTube pages, social media platforms, all of that stuff?
Absolutely. So I do a live show that covers just DMV sports every Thursday at 7:30 on the CWall Sports and Entertainment Facebook page.
Okay.
So we also upload the shows to the CWall Sports and Entertainment YouTube page. And then I'm going to be like you and make sure I'm taking this audio and upload to these podcasts, baby.
Yes.
But I do the live shows and every Thursday. You can always go watch them. All the shows are up there. Everything is up there on the page. But we do a lot of live fan engagement where I'm reading fans' comments, answering their questions. And we're doing the the weekly update in sports. So it's like your sports machine, but it's only DMV sports, and it's a rundown of all things DC and DMV sports.
That is awesome. Like, look at you. You just living out your childhood dream right
now. Literally.
That is awesome. So it's very much fan, not, I don't want to say fan run, but fan like included. So do people call in? Do they do they go live with you? Like, how does that work? If somebody wanted to come on and tell you, I don't know nothing about no DMV sports, so I can't.
So we definitely read all comments live.
Okay.
So if they're joining live and they have their comments going, we definitely try to get to as many comments as we can and acknowledge, the feedback or the topic. Of course, we got to say what's up to folks, but also, whatever great comments that they're sharing, any feedback, any questions, we try to get to as many comments as possible. So that's how we do that in terms of fan engagement. For Washington football, we have throughout the season, we do a fan roundtable.
Oh, okay.
Where I invite a few fans on the show.
Nice.
And it's me as the host. And, we have a couple of fans on and we just ask a few questions. And that's a lot of fun. That's cool.
Yeah. So do you ever interview any other players? Any way for people to see their favorite star?
Absolutely. So of course this past year has been tough.
Yeah.
And really haven't been able to do one-on-one interviews because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
But before that, training camp and during the season was a lot of fun for covering Washington football and the Wizards and the Mystics. So I was able to cover the Mystics on their championship run.
Yes.
There in the building all throughout the playoffs and all throughout the WNBA finals. So that was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
And so, it's the whole lay of the land. We do a lot of one-on-one interviews, and then we will also do the interviews where it's like all the media and the players.
Okay.
So we're in on that too. Now mostly all the interviews are on Zoom. So it's kind of like a media question and answer. So everybody in media is there. So it's not just one-on-one.
It's not just one-on-one. Okay. Mm-hmm. That is nice. So I did ask because I do want to know, is there anybody you fangirl that was like, oh my gosh?
I do that a lot. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm a sports person, so you try to hold it together as long as you can. But I totally fanned out over Michael Jordan.
How did I know that's what you were
saying? And it's like, I know that Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan played for the Wizards. Okay, yeah, that's fine. But it was a little different when you're on the media side of things, and it's like, this is you. You standing right here. Also, like, I'm not gonna be able to take it. And I'm a crier, so now it's like I'm crying. I can't get myself together. I'm like, this is embarrassing.
But also, I think like Michael Jordan was like, that was our time, right? Like, the championships, like that's when we was in high school. Like we lived through that. You know what I mean? Like like the big time when he was like the Bulls was on top of. Like I remember being, I think it was like a school trip or something. We went away, but like all the kids in my class was just sitting in the hotel watching the championship game. It must have been like whatever senior trip, might have been senior trip or something. But we didn't do nothing. We literally just watched the championship game. Like that was the highlight of our night. Like we gonna this is what we gonna do tonight. But yeah, so I could totally see you fan girling.
I've gotten a little used to being around some of the Washington football alumni.
Yeah.
And I've been at several events where they are. So when I first started covering Washington football, it was a bit of I had to get out of fan mode.
Yeah.
Probably what's interesting is, I'll share this. That's probably been the biggest change for me. And everybody be like, what? And I'd be like, seriously, one of the biggest change for me is getting out of fan mode. Because I have so much paraphernalia. I have so much, and once you start covering the team, you can't wear it. You can't wear your paraphernalia. You can't wear it there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. You can't wear it there. You can't wear it on site. Technically you're not even supposed to wear it publicly, but when it comes to like with the Caps and the Nats winning the World Series, I wear that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
But as being on the official media list for Washington football, the Mystics, and the Wizards, I'm not supposed to wear any of that stuff. So
hold on, wait a minute. Is that like so you don't influence people to?
It's
that
exactly
is so weird.
Exactly right. Now let's be clear. They know, they know. Hey, I'm from here. I don't hide it. I'm from here.
Yeah.
It is a area based show. You know,
right. So
that is my
course.
target audience.
Yeah.
So,
that doesn't even. Oh, that's so weird.
Yeah. So that's not the show. You cannot be biased. So
okay.
Okay. All right. Look, truthfully, that makes it easier for me because then I can talk trash. But you just but I that took some getting used to. I'll have to say, like at first I was like, oh my gosh.
Like, yeah. I could
favorite people. Like,
well, once you brush your shoulders with the big people, like now, girl, you like, oh, okay, no,
like, hey,
that's just Mike.
Like, exactly. It's like,
it's just him. Yeah, Candi, I was gonna say young, but y'all gonna get this young, okay?
Right,
I know. Candi, this was such a great conversation. I'm so glad that we did this. It was so many. I like one of the things that I do is I listen back to my podcast, right? Because when I'm in the moment, usually I'm looking for key things, right, to say and just kind of continue the conversation. But there's other times I miss stuff completely. So but I already know. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to listen to this. So because it is going to be so good. So how can people connect with you? Where can they find you at? Where can they watch the show? Like, let us know where we can get connected to you.
Absolutely. So every Thursday, 7:30, I do coaching from the couch with your girl CWall on the CWall Sports and Entertainment Facebook page. It is a live show every Thursday at 7:30.
Yes.
You can see other updates there all throughout the week. I'm also on Instagram at CWall Sports. I'm on Twitter at CWall SE. What else? YouTube, CWall Sports and Entertainment, LinkedIn, CWall Sports and Entertainment. So
y'all just need to.
You can always find
CWall. That's it. And y'all know it's all going to be in the show notes anyway. Thank you so much, Candi, for coming on and sharing your journey and just letting us know, like, literally to do the work. Okay, do all the work. Don't half-ass it. Don't be hiding from the cameras. I feel like it was a couple of little things that the Lord was like, this again. I always say these episodes really be for me. These interviews be for the Lord. Like, I'm just gonna show you through somebody else what I've been telling you. But okay, I got this. I got it. Thank you so much, Candi.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, y'all, that's all for this week. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to share, subscribe, rate, and review. Remember to head over to Facebook and Instagram and follow me at Slaying Self-Doubt. Oh, wait, don't forget, go to my YouTube channel and watch this episode, and remember to press the subscribe button. Until next week, see ya.